Hey guys, a brand new trailer for the highly anticipated Transformers Cyberverse Season 3 has just dropped. So let's take a closer look and see if we can find any clues or Easter eggs in this new footage. The first thing we hear in this new trailer is Optimus saying to Bumblebee over a speaker how bravely he's seen him fight, but now their journey is at an end, with Optimus sitting in his command chair. Does this mean that Optimus is going to sacrifice himself and the Ark in order to save the other Autobots from someone or something? He then says someday you will be called upon to be a leader. Bumblemus Prime? This is followed by a shot of Optimus standing beside Shadow Striker with a bunch of generic Autobots cheering. Does this mean that Shadow Striker defects? She does still have her Decepticon badge on her chest, and she is in her current Frankenstein body, so this can't be a flashback, unless of course it's an animation error. It also looks like they cut a hole in the big door or wall behind them, so maybe the generics are celebrating that they've been freed. Optimus then tells Bumblebee that he must return to Cybertron and return it to life. We see a purple fog covering Cybertron, which reminds me of the green Energon fog that was in Transformers Energon, which could harm Autobots if they came in contact with it. So maybe this is something similar, or just an atmospheric effect. We also see the Autobot scout ships land near some statues, possibly some great Autobots of the past, or even the original 13 Primes. We then see Bumblebee and Chromia in what looks like a Cybertronian forest, which reminds me a lot of the techno-organic plant life from Beast Machines. Chromia also appears to be holding something. It's hard to make out. Maybe it's a map or a radar or something. They then find Superman's Fortress of Solitude, or at least that's what it reminds me of, along with Bumblebee saying this doesn't look like home. We then have these giant shockwave drones dropping in on Optimus and a bunch of generic Autobots. Then Megatron saying to Optimus, Wheeljack, Ratchet, and RC, as well as a whole army of generic Autobots, that he's arrived long before them, followed by a shot of Optimus with a bunch of statues in the background, one of which is clearly McAdam, aka Optimus Prime, one of the original 13. There's also another statue we can see. My guess is this might be Onyx Prime. Of course, Optimus and Megatron face off. We then get to see Bumblebee transform into what I'm assuming is his Cybertronian mode. Although he didn't have this mode back in the episode The Allspark, also this new mode can fly. So yeah, Bumblebee can finally fly. That's kind of fitting considering his name is Bumblebee and bees can fly. I'm surprised that most Bumblebees can't fly outside of having some sort of jetpack. We then have Megatron saying you have no chance in front of Shockwave and a bunch of generic Decepticons, both the Viacon style from the last season and a few Seekers. So I guess they weren't all destroyed by Starscream. And is that Nova Storm? I mean, it certainly looks like her. Were the Earth Seekers revived somehow? Or is this another generic Seeker that just so happens to look like her? Or, and I'm sorry to say this, is this just another animation error? We then have Bumblebee admitting that he's crazy, along with a shot of him climbing some kryptonite-looking stairs to a throne or something, followed by a shot of a brand new Hammerhead Shark Transformer who we will learn from the new toy reveals is called Hammerbite. Maybe an Autobot counterpart to Skybite? We can actually see him flying away from Bumblebee in a previous shot. We then get a shot of two more new Transformers, one that looks like he's dressed like a cowboy with a poncho. This character we will learn is named Wild Wheel. No info on whose side he's on or what he transforms into. But considering his name's Wild Wheel, he probably turns into some kind of ground vehicle. Maybe a truck? And he's fighting what looks like a Cyberverse version of the Insecticon Shrapnel. So he's probably an Autobot. We then see Starscream getting attacked by Doc Ock. Again, this is probably not Doc Ock, but you gotta admit, those four grabbers we see at the sides of the screen do look like Dr. Octopus's tentacles. Next we have two more new characters with Ramjet shooting down Whirl. Although Ramjet was actually in a previous episode, I'm guessing he'll have a slightly larger part in this season. We then have another new character, Meteor Fire, landing next to Bumblebee along with looks like the camera bot from the Cube game. This guy's appearance is interesting. He kind of reminds me of Atlas, but he also kind of looks like Jetfire. Maybe he's Jetfire's brother? Maybe even a powered up version of Jetfire? But anyways, we can tell that he transforms into some kind of VTOL jet. Maybe he's related to Windblade. Speaking of which, next is Windblade kicking, followed by a shot of Bumblebee, Chromia, Grimlock, Optimus Prime, Whirl in his robot mode, and yet another new character, Thunderhowl, exiting what looks like Croatan, the giant Titan Transformer from last season. So obviously Croatan comes back, hence why we saw Starscream earlier too, since we know that he kind of hitched a ride on Croatan at the end of that episode. We also see a couple Autobots lying on the ground, one of which looks to me like Hot Rod. And finally, we end on the new title for this series, Transformers Bumblebee Cyberverse Adventures. Really trying to emphasize the Bumblebee here, huh? So, what can we take away from this trailer? Looks to me like Optimus is going to die, Bumblebee is going to take over as leader, Croatan comes back, and we get a bunch of totally new characters, including a couple of beasties. Now on to the toy reveals. First up, we got our new Sharkbot Hammerbite. He looks pretty cool in the show render, but his toy looks a little meh. Feels like he could use more paint. And he seems to have this gimmick where his shark head flips over his robot head, supposedly so you can have him in some kind of Street Sharks mode. Next is Thunderhowl, who we knew was coming in the deluxe line along with RC. In the trailer, we only got to see him in beast mode, but in this render, we can see him in his robot mode. He looks really cool. And kind of like Hammerbite, his toy renders look worse than his cartoon appearance in my opinion. In the show he's black and blue, but his toy is green and gold, almost like a certain infamous dress. He also seems to have a different head, but he comes with a sword and shield, and overall looks pretty cool. Definitely seems to be going for some kind of knight aesthetic. I just wish his toy was the same color as he is in the show. We then have another new character who wasn't shown in the trailer at all, Iaconus. This guy definitely seems like he could have something to do with the original 13 Transformers, which seems like this season might delve into. But Iaconus here looks pretty cool even if we don't know anything about him yet. We've got a render of Wild Wheel, who we saw in the trailer, and a render of Meteorfire, who we also saw in the trailer. And then we've got some very gimmicky looking toys of existing characters. Starting with Optimus, who seems to have a much more Cybertronian truck form. Again, not something we've seen before, because even in flashbacks in episodes set before they ever came to Earth, they still had their Earth modes. Next we have Bumblebee in his flying car mode, which, now that I'm looking at it, kind of looks like a cross between a Prime Viacon and some kind of cyberpunk future car. We also got Megatron with a flail hand and a double fusion cannon. Not overcompensating at all, are we? And finally, we conclude the big four with Starscream, who looks to have these flip-out null rays on his wings. And his wings in jet mode now come past his nose cone. Kind of reminds me of Spy Streak, the way you could split the front half of his jet to make it sort of a grabby claw. He looks pretty cool. Definitely a very futuristic / alien jet mode. And finally, we have a list of all 26 episodes of the 3rd season of Cyberverse. Yes, that's right. Unlike Season 1 and 2, Season 3 will have 26 episodes, as opposed to the previous season's 18 episodes apiece. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, pause the video right now, because I'm going to go through all of their titles and their descriptions. And if you are leaving now, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that other YouTube stuff before you go. Okay, did you do it? Because here we go, in 3, 2, 1. First up is the Battle for Cybertron 4-parter. The description for all 4 parts reads as, the Autobots must defeat the Decepticons in order to restore Cybertron to life with the Allspark. The Loop. After their victory over the Decepticons, Bumblebee finds himself hunted by a mysterious figure from his past. The Dead End. Hot Rod and Lugnut apparently free the wrong bot from Quintesson control. The Sleeper. A frustrated Hot Rod attempts to free more of his comrades while Perceptor makes an epic discovery. The Citizen. Hot Rod discovers the terrible secret behind the Quintesson menace. The Trial. Hot Rod takes a strike team to free Windblade but gets captured by the Quintessons. The Prisoner. Hot Rod and Soundwave clash over leadership of the Cybertronian resistance. The Scientist. Hot Rod and Soundwave team up against the Quintesson scientist. The Alliance. The Cybertronian resistance makes an unexpected discovery about McAdams. The Judge. In a last-ditch effort, the Autobots and Decepticons work together to try and save their universe. Then we come to another 4-parter, this one titled The End of the Universe. And it's described as the Autobots and Decepticons combine their forces to liberate Cybertron from the sinister alien force. Next is Enemy Line. In an attempt to find his missing friend, Bumblebee must go on a spy mission into Decepticon territory. Thunderhowl. Searching for Windblade, Bumblebee and Chromia discover that the legendary Crystal City holds many secrets. Wild Wild Wheel. A forgotten bot returns to Cybertron looking for revenge. Alien Hunt with Meteor Fire and Cosmos. Bumblebee must travel to Cybertron's Forbidden Moon to help Windblade. Journey to the Valley of Repugnus. In search of Windblade, Grimlock journeys with Bumblebee to prehistoric Cybertron. Rack and Ruin and Ratchet. A rescue mission to save Jetfire reveals a secret Decepticon operation. Dweller in the Depths. Chromia and Bumblebee venture into Cybertron's gaseous Argon Sea in search of Windblade. Silent Strike. Optimus leads a strike team of Autobots on a mission deep into Decepticon territory to destroy a dangerous artifact. And finally, The Other One. The Autobots and Decepticons confront The Other One, a powerful being from another universe. So, some spoilers, but nothing too big. It seems like the Quintessons will be a big part of this season, with the Autobots and Decepticons being captured by them and them having to work together in order to free themselves. Apparently Windblade goes missing at some point too, and Bumblebee and Chromia find the Crystal City while looking for her. That's probably the Fortress of Solitude looking place in the trailer. A forgotten bot returns to Cybertron looking for revenge in the episode Wild Wild Wheel. I wonder who might debut in that episode. Alien Hunt with Meteor Fire and Cosmos. That's probably where this shot in the trailer is from. Also, Cosmos is going to be in Cyberverse 2? That's exciting. And in the final episode, we just have someone called The Other One. All we know about them is that they're a powerful being from another universe. Interesting. Could this be Unicron? I feel like if this was Unicron, they would have just said that it was Unicron. Again, it looks like there's some exciting stuff in store for Cyberverse. Seems like the first part of the season will be about the Quintessons, the second will be about finding Windblade, and the show will conclude with some mysterious powerful new enemy from another dimension. Perhaps playing into the Season 2 finale and their journey into subspace. There's lots to look forward to in regards to Cyberverse, and with New York Toy Fair being later this month, we'll probably have even more to talk about then. So if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, share, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you next time for more Transformers Cyberverse, or as it's now being called, Bumblebee Cyberverse Adventures News.